This video is brought to you by WeGotSoccer.com, offering all the latest soccer gear at everyday low prices. Don't forget to use coupon code SR4U at checkout for 10% off any order. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike Tiempo Legend 5 in the Desert Sand, Black, and Atomic Orange colorway. Now inside the box, as with all top-end models from Nike, a string bag is included. This particular string bag is black in color with your Atomic Orange Tiempo logo, Nike swoosh, and the strings on the bag are also in that Atomic Orange color. So I'll get that out of the way really quickly, get the shoes out of the box, and if you guys could take a quick second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the brand new Nike Tiempo Legend 5, which to me is a very, very interesting release from Nike. At first glance, it still appears to be the same formula, kangaroo leather upper, classic Tiempo stud pattern, but I think that with the release of the Nike Premier this last year, that has more or less replaced the Tiempo Legend line in terms of providing that ultra traditional feel, and because they have that Nike Premier, which is more or less solidified in the market as a really good traditionally styled soccer shoe, they have more kind of freedom to play around with implementing new technologies and new ideas onto the Tiempo Legend. So while Tiempo Legends 1 to 4 may not have been all that exciting in terms of technological advancements, I think that the Legend 5 has a lot of hidden features on it that a lot of people don't realize at this point that make it a very, very exciting shoe, and I'm curious to see how it is actually going to perform out there on the field. So leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the brand new Legend 5. Do you like the new design? Do you like how it looks? Do you dislike how it looks? What do you think of some of the new features? Leave a comment down below. I'd be very curious to hear all of your opinions. Now, in terms of the aesthetics of this shoe, I think the first thing that a lot of people notice is, one, it appears to be very similar to the second edition of the Tiempo Ronaldinho, back when Ronaldinho had his own signature line going back a few years, in that it has the shallower lacing system with more exposed area here in the forefoot, and then of course it has that quilted stitching pattern in the forefoot of the leather itself. The other distinctive noticeable feature about this shoe is the color blocking design, which is definitely very, very interesting looking, and I think lends itself well to some really good looking and very unique looking colorways in the future, and I'm very excited to see what Nike is going to do. So overall, I think visually this is a very striking shoe. I always thought the Legend 4 was the best looking model from Nike, and I think that the Legend 5, while it's replacing the Legend 4, is still the best looking model that Nike is currently making just because of the simple design. Now in terms of this particular colorway, you're going to have your desert sand color taking up pretty much the majority of the forefoot and the entire outside of the boot. It's a very interesting colorway, and I'm not sure how it's going to look on camera. In certain lighting, it does look more gray, and in other lighting, very rarely I should say, it does appear to have somewhat of a sand color, so it's not a true white as it may appear in some of the images. Even in this video, it's more of a very, very light gray with a slightly brownish sand tinge to it depending on the lighting situation. Now, as far as accent colors, the main accent color is obviously going to be the bright atomic orange. You're going to find an atomic orange stitch going along the forefoot area that I think looks really, really good. Your atomic orange laces, the liner is predominantly atomic orange along with the insole itself. Of course, you're going to have that color blocking on the instep of the shoe with that bright atomic orange that looks very, very good. And then of course it divides right here at the back of the heel where you're going to find a Tiempo logo in chrome, as well as the tongue itself being with a shiny mirrored chrome finish, which I think looks very unique. Not sure if this chrome finish is going to carry over to future colorways, but it is on this one. You're going to have a matte black Nike swoosh on both the inside and outside of the shoe. Then of course the sole plate itself also features your atomic orange and desert sand as the two main colors. I know that a lot of people may have some questions about this particular area of the boot, and that the orange is a little bit off in color and the finish is a little bit different. Basically what Nike did here is they wanted that color blocking design to kind of start right here. So instead of making the transition point right here, they made the transition point right here and then painted on that orange color to extend basically two more extra panels. So that's why the color and finish is a little bit off. It's simply for aesthetics and has nothing to do with performance. Now, in terms of performance and all the technical specifications of this shoe, Nike really concentrated on still maintaining a soft kangaroo leather touch. They maintained that kangaroo leather material, which I'm very, very happy about. They didn't change it or anything like that. And they also wanted to make sure that this shoe was as water resistant as possible, which is a major issue for a lot of natural leather soccer shoes. So starting off with the upper itself, starting from this seam right here, going all the way through the midfoot, forefoot toe box area, and then cutting off at pretty much the exact same spot on the instep. All of this area of the shoe is made from a soft kangaroo leather. Now the kangaroo leather, in comparison to past Tiempo models, is noticeably thinner this time around, and again, this plays into the type of feel they wanted to offer with the Legend 5, which is going to be a little bit different from the Nike Premier, and it also plays into the concept of being more water resistant, drying more quickly, and also being a little bit more lightweight and modern. Going to the back part of the boot, from this seam going back, cutting off at this seam right here, you're going to have a synthetic material. Still does have a leather grain finish, and to be completely honest with you guys, it's not as important in terms of your touch on the ball, simply because the back is basically going to feature an internal plastic heel counter, so your overall touch is not going to be impacted even though it is a synthetic material. It's also going to help to maintain the overall shape of the boot itself. Now moving on to the tongue, it is a synthetic material, similar to what we found on the Legend 4 in that it's a little bit thinner, but you're going to have a memory foam insert running through the middle. It's got a decent thickness to it as well, so any kind of lace bite or comfort issue should not be a problem due to that memory foam insert. And then of course ACC all conditions control is also a feature, as with all the top end models from Nike. It acts as pretty much a wet control element on the upper, allowing for better friction between your foot and the ball in wet playing conditions. Now you guys probably noticed the Hyper Shield branding right there. Now basically Hyper Shield is a technology that is not necessarily a technology, it's more or less a name that signifies water resistance when it comes to Nike. And now if you've worn a Nike Hyper Shield running shoe or a Nike Hyper Shield trainer, you know that it's essentially a version of that running shoe that is designed to resist water a little bit more efficiently due to some type of change in the material of the upper. And that's basically what they've done with the Tiempo Legend 5. Normally there would be a layer of leather on the outside and then several very thin layers of liner on the inside, or whatever materials they use to make up the upper itself. The Tiempo Legend 5 is different in that it only uses 2 single layers of material. So you're going to have your kangaroo leather on the outside, and then on the inside, if I open up this shoe very, very quickly, you're going to find what appears to be a very similar material to what you're going to find as the base for Nike Skin. It's kind of a honeycomb mesh, hopefully you guys can see that, and it lines pretty much the entire inside of the shoe. It's a very interesting concept by Nike. This is supposedly going to allow for better water resistance, as well as allow the shoe to dry a lot more quickly. I'm not sure why or how it's supposed to do that, but that's what they're claiming, and again, I'm very curious to see how that is going to work. I find that this mesh material makes for a very, very comfortable, soft fit on the inside of the boot, which is something that I can't really complain about too much. I'm not sure how it's going to impact the overall stretching of the boot either. It will provide some type of resistance, but as we know, the Nike Hypervenom Phantom Nike Skin material actually has a pretty nice ability to stretch, so I'd expect the same when combined with the soft kangaroo leather on the Legend 5. Now moving on to the inside of the shoe is lined in the heel and ankle collar area in a synthetic leather material with a black perforated synthetic leather in the heel. So gone is the suede liner on the inside, which to me isn't necessarily a bad thing. I personally prefer this type of heel liner as opposed to synthetic suede, just because the suede tends to harden up and dry up after several months of use, for those of you that are wearing these as your only pair of soccer shoes. So to me, this is a little bit more durable and to me just as comfortable as well. The insole is fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. Instead of a solid synthetic leather liner on top, it's now a mesh liner, perforations all throughout. You're going to have your Tiempo branding right there on the heel. It is a yellow foam material with your pour-on inserts in the heel, forefoot, and toe area. And again, very similar to the previous Tiempo Legend, Legend insole, but just a little bit trimmed down, a little bit lighter due to that kind of more lightweight mesh liner, and of course the perforations throughout. Still just as comfortable though, which is obviously very, very important. Now moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern. What's interesting about the Legend 5 is that it shares the exact same last as the brand new Nike Hypervenom Phantom. So the X1.1 last, where it's shaped a little bit differently, slightly tighter in the forefoot and toe box area, or slightly wider in the forefoot, a little bit tighter in the toe box. That shape remains on the Tiempo Legend 5, giving it a slightly different feel than past Tiempo models. And also the sizing is a little bit different, which we'll talk about later in the on-feet portion of the video. You're also going to notice in the sole plate, you're going to have a very, very slight ridge, that kind of split toe design like you'd find in the Hypervenom Phantom. But again, that wasn't really a super noticeable feature on that shoe, and I don't expect it to be a super noticeable feature on the Tiempo Legend 5 either. Now, as you guys can see, the stud pattern has changed a little bit, but for the most part is still a very similar idea. You're still going to have your 4 bladed heel studs in the back. One thing of note is that the heel studs are a little bit wider this time around, which Nike is claiming should provide a little bit better stability, which again, you can't really argue with that. Each of the studs is also very well supported, so stability should not be an issue. It is a TPU base for the sole plate itself, so just the standard plastic you found on the Tiempo Legend 4 or previous models, to be completely fair. You're also going to have a stiffener bar going through the middle, just to provide that little bit of extra stiffness through the midfoot, but for the most part, it's still very, very flexible in the forefoot area, which is something that I've always liked about the Tiempo Legend stud pattern. Now, moving on to the forefoot, the stud pattern has reverted back to all conical studs. They are fairly aggressive in terms of their length, and because of their positioning, they should penetrate the ground a little bit more easily and provide better grip. They do appear to be ever so slightly longer, if you ask me. And then, of course, you can see your 2 support studs in the middle are still blades, but they're kind of angled a little bit more differently again. And again, I don't think this is going to be something that's significantly going to change the feel of the stud pattern, but it is a noted change. Now, the one last change that I really like about this new stud pattern is that they've integrated a Mercurial-esque or Hypervenom-esque stud right here at the tip of the toe. Now, basically the reason why Nike and any company really provides different stud patterns for all their different models is to provide a slightly different feel to go along with that style of shoe. But a stud like this, to me, is not going to change up the feel of the shoe all that much, and it's a stud that every single player on the field is going to need at some point in time, because everybody's pushing off for a quick acceleration right at the tip of the toe. So to me, this little stud is a really nice integration into the Tiempo line, and I'm really happy they did put it on the shoe. Now, the one last thing that I wanted to mention regarding the sole plate is that there is one little kind of cutout section of the sole plate. It's a little kind of flex zone or flex line, or flex groove, I should say. Nike saying it's inspired by the Nike Free series, and that it does have a little bit of a split right here at the base of the forefoot, allowing for better flexibility. Again, it's a very, very small ridge. It's not super noticeable, and if you didn't really kind of take a close look at the shoe, you probably wouldn't notice it at all, but it is there, and they're saying it is going to improve flexibility. Again, that's really yet to be said until I have actually worn the shoes, but definitely something, again, worth noting. But that's pretty much it as far as all the technical specifications of the new Legend 5. And move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. The Tiempo Legend models have always ranged in weight between 9 and 10 ounces, which is about the norm for a shoe of this style nowadays. Now, moving on to the Tiempo Legend 5, Nike has managed to shed a little bit of weight from this particular model. Not a significant amount, but definitely something worth noting. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time. Keep in mind that this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 8.8 ounces. So they're now in the 8 ounce range. They're still at the higher 8 ounce range, but nonetheless, they are a little bit lighter than the Tiempo Legend 4, or the previous model, I should say. It's not really a noticeable amount of weight either in hand or on feet, but it's always nice to know that Nike has managed to shed a little bit of weight off the shoe without taking away from the solid feel and just quality of materials on the shoe in general. So that's pretty much it as far as the weigh-in portion of this video goes. And move on next to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and what the sizing is like. Alright, here's a look at the Tiempo Legend 5s on feet. And as you would expect from right out of the box, these shoes are pretty comfortable and more or less ready to go. The leather is soft and flexible from brand new. Give it a couple hours of break-in time and this shoe will only become more comfortable as the leather softens up and stretches to the exact shape of your foot. In terms of the fit of this boot, it does share the exact same X1.1 last with the Hypervenom Phantom. So the shape and feel of the Tiempo Legend 5 is a little bit different from previous models, but to me it's less to do with the shape and more to do with the lacing system that is a lot more shallow this time around, making for a slightly tighter feel in this area of the boot because it doesn't have the laces down that deep, so you can't actually tighten this part of the shoe, I should say. So because of that, it does have a slightly tighter fit in the forefoot and toe box area, or at least this area right here, which is by design because they don't want the shoe to overstretch. So if it does feel a little bit snug in that part of the shoe, from right out of the box, that is totally normal, and just expect that leather to stretch after, like I said, several hours of break-in time. The midfoot this time around is also made from a leather material, so if you do need that little bit of extra width through the middle of the foot, you should be able to get that from the kangaroo leather upper. In terms of sizing, I can't really say that the Legend 5 runs true to size. I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is extremely tight this time around. Now, I do have a size 9.5 US currently on the way, and I will be making a video of those as well. It's a different colorway, so expect to see that video go up, and I kind of don't want to comment too much on the sizing until I've tried the half size bigger, but from what I can tell you, these do run noticeably smaller than the previous Legend 4 model. So if you're looking for an extremely tight fit, you can stay true to size, but for the most part, if you want something that is more snug and perhaps a little bit more comfortable, you can safely go a half size up in the Legend 5 for the best possible fit. So that's pretty much it as far as the on-feet portion of this video, and I'll leave you to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the Nike Tiempo Legend 5. I think it's definitely an interesting release by Nike in that they didn't really change up the concept of the boot too much, but they changed up the design enough to really keep things interesting and honestly make a design that is going to offer some differences in terms of performance in comparison to the Tiempo Legend 4. As far as if those differences are better or worse, that's yet to be said since I haven't really worn the shoes. But do expect more videos on the Nike Tiempo Legend 5, as well as the full review to follow in the next couple of weeks. In the meantime though, if you guys are interested in getting a pair of these for yourself, you can find Buy It Now links along with exclusive SR4U coupon codes to get yourself some discounts on the review page of my website, linked down below in the description of this video. If you have any questions regarding the Legend 5, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.